everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Mike Delisio.
And we're on the brink of something. Today we're taking a look at the new IV Studios game, Brink. I think it's on the brink of war. It just says the Moonrakers are on the brink. Their games all tie together in the same universe of sorts. The Moonraker, many of their space games.
Okay.
I think maybe all their games? I don't know. But this one definitely is in the Moonrakers universe.
Yes, so is Moon Rollers, but that one was more obvious.
Also, I don't know that it matters. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's a theme of space in this game to some degree. But I wouldn't have known it was in the universe unless they told me. And also the plethora of black that they like to put in their games. But we'll talk about that in a second. Let's take a look at how it plays, and we'll be right back. The core of this game is a worker placement game. Each person has 3 different ships. And so you can place one ship just gets placed on a hex, another ship gets placed between 2 hexes, and the third ship gets placed between 3. And that will block stuff. If you have the 3 here, no one can put a 2 ship between those. And in fact, you can even place one like that, and when that happens, you'll then draw a couple tiles and you'll place a new tile there. And that is how the universe is going to be explored. Now, when you place a ship out and you're finding these different tiles, there's 2 things going on. One is you're going to get the cubes on them. So there are cubes of different colors, the purple cubes being the best since they're kind of a wild cube anyway. So you'll get the cubes that it shows on there. However, if the cubes have a white border, instead of putting them in your tray, each person has a tray here with a shield so that people can't see what's behind it. And as I collect cubes, I'm going to throw them behind here in the different spots. But any cubes with a white border, I'll put in the front. And those, I have to trade away to other people. I can trade them for their cubes, and then they can then put them behind. So I had to find someone who's willing to make a trade. Otherwise, those cubes are just thrown away. The other thing is you get to take the actions. There's little white icons on many of them. Not all of them. This one here doesn't have one on it. But these actions are going to allow you to do various things. An action lets you upgrade your ships. You're going to move this token, and when it gets to an upgrade spot, you can decide which way to move it. You will add that piece to the appropriate size ship. So you can see I have a little gun on this ship now. Maybe if I had moved over here, I would be adding cargo to this. Cargo means you're going to get more cubes when you put that ship out, and the gun gives you more power in that color. Power is important to note because it's one of the ways that you're going to be scoring points in this game, one of the main ways actually. So a ship here has 1 yellow power, and this tile gives 2 yellow power, so this would be 3 yellow power. Well, this one is 3 yellow power and 1 green power. Another action you can do is ambassadors, and this is where power matters because when you take the ambassador action, you can spend cubes for it, but you also, if you have power, so if I have 3 yellow power, I would only need to spend 2 yellow cubes to get this card. Ambassadors give you bonuses, like this one, for example, gives +1 power, or this one says once per turn, a purple cube can be spent to take an upgrade action, upgrade my ship. And they each have different amounts of power. You also, as with all the actions in this game, can alternatively take the cube that's on top of the deck. Ambassadors are one of the main ways to score. At the end of the game, you're going to get points for each different colored set. If you have all 4 colors, for example, you'll get 18 points. Another action you can take is getting action cards, where you'll draw 2 action cards and get to keep one of them. Again, if you don't want it, you can take a purple cube you trade away. And these cards just allow you to do various things. Some of them will give you endgame scoring. You can always turn them in if you need the cube color at the top of them. And some allow you to play them on your turn as an action. Others are going to mess with scoring in between rounds. But there's all sorts of different action cards here. This one is +1 when you score during the council. The final action you could take that you find on hexes are riders, where you'll place these rider cards, you'll draw one and pick one, and these are going to affect voting at the end of a round. Voting is a pretty important thing. As I said, each player has a tray. On this tray is where you keep all your cubes that you'll get over the course of the game. You have a shield, which will keep that hidden from other players. There's going to be a voting phase at the end of each round, and what you'll do during this phase is you decide how many of your tokens you're going to vote per color. This is also where scoring cards can be played from players, They're also going to be checking these riders, and eventually two colors will come out ahead. One of those will score 3 points per power that you have, whether it's from your ambassadors or ships, and the other will give you 2 points. And in future rounds, those points go up, 4 and 2 and 4 and 3. You'll also score bonus points for cubes here if a color shows up multiple times up here. And that's basically it for the game. Most of the points will come from those scoring and from the collecting sets of ambassadors. But there are special cards that you can buy over the course of the game. They're set up here at the top of the board. They cost a pretty penny. You'll see that, for example, this one here costs 9 cubes/power. But these will also give you points at the end game for the number of cubes you have of that type. But they also give you special abilities. One allows you to put a special planet out on the board. One gives you an upgrade that only you have that you can put on your ship. The blue one here gives you negative cubes that you can use in scoring to cancel votes out. And so each one has its own special ability. So that's pretty much how the game works. Most points after 3 rounds is the winner. So the copy that I showed you in the overview is the deluxe copy. The copy that we have here is the regular copy. I only mention that because there's a few differences. The ships aren't painted. The cubes all look like cubes. And there's not big, gorgeous plastic trays, which you definitely 100% do not need. If I was going to buy one, I would be tempted to buy the regular version, if only because I felt there was too much plastic in the deluxe version, and I didn't feel that it was that necessary. Except I do love those plastic cubes, and I love the painted ships. I like those a lot.
I played only the retail edition, and I thought, wow, this is a very nice copy of a game. If you had told me 3 years ago this is a deluxe version of a game, I would have believed you.
Yeah, you don't need the deluxe stuff by any means. I mean, I think there are some elements that are nice, but there's probably going to be some things we talk about that I think actually work against it. One of them being that it's probably a bigger box than it needs to be once you get the deluxe, so I agree.
Yeah, and I mentioned this at the beginning, they love to do black as their motif for the games. This is one of the first times I thought it actively worked a little bit against the game for me, specifically the rule book. The rule book being black with small white print font was just, I'm old, I get that, but it was just a pain to read. It was just... And it also, I didn't think it was formatted particularly well. I was taught the game way back when, but I had forgotten it. And I was relearning it again from the rules. And I was like sitting there going, this isn't as easy to grok as I thought. And a lot of that was the black with the white font on it.
I think it's also a slightly oddly laid out rule book. I learned it from that without pretty much any context. But yeah, I do wish it was just a little more approachable. That being said, the game itself is actually fairly simple. It's simpler, I think, than the initial rules read kind of insinuates.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is simpler, but the rule book doesn't do you a lot of favors. Number one, I agree, it's a little bit hard to read when it shouldn't be, and it is structured in a way that I don't think makes the most sense. Because really, this is a game that I think it's in, each round is in kind of 2 phases. One is the worker placement where you're putting your ships out, and then the second phase is the voting. And the placement aspect, super simple. It's going to be very familiar to anyone who's played a worker placement game. You're gathering resources, maybe trading resources, doing some actions. That's the part that's very simple. The part that I think could have been explained better in the rule book and is really almost, I think, going to take everybody a full round of doing it before they understand is the voting. And so that's the one aspect of the game, is that the voting is where the points are really scored, and that's the part that's less intuitive than the worker placement aspect.
100%. If I was explaining this, I would actually probably start with the voting and teach backwards from that, because it's not particularly intuitive, and it's the Ivy Studios games always push boundaries. They're always pushing edges of designing of games. This is like, oh, you play stuff and get resources, sort of, but you're also placing down for power, which is kind of a concept you want to teach people right away. Like, hey, get power. The trading cubes is a fun, if not forced, mechanism thematically. It's like, hey, here's some corn I got. I can't eat it. I really wanted to eat it, though. I'm just not allowed. Or whatever it might be. It's definitely, I'm assuming they got the idea from Sidereal Confluence, which has the same aspect where everyone gets stuff. In that game, everything you get, you can't use. You have to trade it away to make it a fun game of trading.
Yeah. So yeah, this one is definitely more of like a small element to it. There's even little power cards you can get, which, by the way, those look just like Moonrakers, like those.
They do.
Yeah. But some of those are like, oh, when you get those favor, which go in front of your shield, you can just take them, right? For the most part, though, you have to do the trade thing. I think that's another little nitpick, right? Favor versus influence, sitting there reading those words, trying to remember which one is the one I actually have, which one is the thing I have to trade away. Not hard to actually do, but hard to like just internalize and like solidify in my brain. Which one's which?
I personally didn't have that issue, but to me, the trading is one of my favorite parts of the game. I love the way they handle the trading here, and I have to say I have not played Sidereal Confluence, but I'm a little bit more interested if it has a trading system that's like this, because what oftentimes happens in trading games is that you're sitting there with one particular resource you really want, and you just can't get it because people aren't willing to trade with you. This makes trading so much quicker. It's just so much less painless. The biggest problem that I've seen with the favors, which are the ones the mandatory trade or you just have to discard them if no one wants to trade with you, is that it can be easy to forget that you have those, because this is also in the course of gathering resources that are yours and taking actions, and you can do this stuff in whatever order you want. And I've found that on multiple occasions people have forgotten that they've got a couple of favor cubes sitting in front of them. It'll be two other players' turns since them, and they'll go like, oh, I forgot I have these purple cubes I needed to trade. That can happen.
Yes, but I don't want to sound like I'm down on the game. I think there's some oddities about getting it taught, but I really like the worker placement part a ton. Mike said he liked the trading. For me, the trading is a minor part of the game. I don't care about it one way or the other. But I love the worker placement. You have that 1, 2, and 3 worker. You can explore with it, which is really kind of just push your luck. Like, I really hope I get the tile I want that's out there. Or I can just go for the spot that I know is good, but I really want some yellow out there on the board. I like that, and I like the upgrading of the ships because they feel fairly equal. The one is, give me more stuff. The other is, give me more points, which at
more
the beginning
power.
I would buy some more stuff because it feels better. And then I also like those extra modules that you can buy in the ambassador cards. That all congeals into a very fun game for me. And that's why I said that the trading is fine, but I find to me it's more minor than not. And if I have a way to not go on a space where I have to trade with other people, I'll pick it because I want to trade. I want to get my own stuff.
I know that feeling a little bit, actually. What I'll say about the exploring is interesting because it is just luck. What are you gonna draw off the top of the tile there, the tile pile? But when I last played this, at one point I put my triple ship out there into a hex that had just no resources, no action, just that power, like double power for the scoring that you're talking about, right? And then I revealed 2 hexes that also had no actions and no resources. It was just double orange, double yellow, double blue power. I thought, whew, that was a whimper of a turn. But even as bad as that felt in the moment, it is kind of compensatory when you get to the scoring moment, right? Because
yes.
You're like, well, whatever triggers scoring-wise, I'm getting points because I've got power everywhere. So I think that the game does a good job of certain tiles are more attractive, certain spaces, worker placement-wise, are immediately attractive, and some are long-term attractive. And ideally, you want to take some actions on your turn. But even if with the worst of luck you don't, it still works out.
Yeah, I agree. I think that at certain points in the game, certain tiles are going to be more attractive than others. But when you are exploring, I mean, I think push your luck is a perfect element to have, because the whole point of exploring is you don't know what you're going to get, right? I don't think that you should necessarily put yourself in a position where you are depending upon a certain tile. Sure, you can be hoping for one, but if you're depending on one, it's not a great strategy because you don't have a lot of control over that. You have zero control over that. But I agree with what you said, Chris. Chris, in that even if something's not giving you an immediate return, resources, actions, you're still going to be getting something out of it. And I really like that balance. I also like the idea that, these purple cubes are especially valuable because they're wild, A, and B, they count as 2 votes for whatever faction you place them on during the voting council. Well, there are no purple tiles out there. Instead, they've got these red tiles that don't really do much of anything except help you get purple ambassadors. So there's all of these little interlocking things, and they all just seem to work. I really think that this is a game that is very well balanced, to the point where I have not seen a lot of runaway leader issues. I very rarely have seen a situation where a player just feels like kind of hosed. You may have played something poorly. You may not have gotten exactly the cubes you wanted. Someone may have done something, that has manipulated the vote and it didn't go the way you had hoped, but not just like by the vagaries of what happened, I'm kind of out of it.
Yeah, overall, I think the game, the box says 90 to 120 minutes. That's almost longer. I mean, yes, people can drag it out. It's easy a game to drag out, but the game has a very good pace to it. Sometimes the universe gets really explored. Sometimes it does not, depending on things. And I like the interplay between players. If I see someone really going all in an orange, and then another player goes all in an orange, I might go explore and hope for the best, because I like to get another color in play, maybe that I have. And then if I can then swing that vote, I can pull a huge upset at the end of the game. All this comes together. There's some minor things, like I said, with the look of the game. One of them being, I know they have their style, but I kind of wish I could see the ambassadors more so I could differentiate between them. They all look the same picture-wise to me, but they do different things. And reading what they do, you have to pick the ambassadors up to see what they do. I'm always like, wait, what does that one do? Hang on. Okay.
Every bit of text is pretty small in this game.
Yeah, it's not a game for people who have bad eyesight, probably, but it's also not a game for everybody. It's not a game I think everyone's going to enjoy because it has a unique feel, but that's how Ivy Studios games always are. But I still like it. I find the worker placement fun. I'm a big fan of the 1, 2, 3 worker Steam the Steam Whistle.
Whistle Mountain.
Whistle Mountain. I'm getting
Steam Whistle.
Whistle Mountain also had that, the 1, 2, and 3 space airship. Yeah. I like that. You put your big one out first to get stuff, but then, or do you save it to the end so that no one knows where you're going to go for power-wise? It comes together in a very nice package for me. I'm giving this one a 7.5.
I'm actually also 7.5. I think that it's neat. I like the worker placement a lot. I like that certain types of ships, the sizing of them physically block certain aspects of it, right? Like your triple ship prevents a double from being put next to it. And they actually fit that way. If someone tries, just little details like that. I wish there were certain other little details like the small text embiggened a little bit, things that were just more visually clear. But I've even played this at 2 players, and I can say I think that this is pretty neat at 2 players. You have a bag on the side that has a few cubes of each of the basic type. And then you can trade with this imaginary third player, so to speak. You trade with the bag. And so what it does, it gives you a little bit of encouragement to trade with the other person, and like a little bit to say like, hey, I'm gonna trade with the bag if you don't want to trade some stuff with me. I think that's not a terrible system, and the stuff that you trade into the bag, you're going to pull out 4 random cubes, and that manipulates the vote at the end of the round.
Ah, okay.
So, hey, do you want me to keep throwing orange cubes in that bag, or do you want to trade with me, right? Like it does a good job. It doesn't encapsulate the exact feel of a higher player count game, but it is a good 2-player version, and it's okay that it's almost a sidestep of a bit of a different game while being 90% the same game. So it's fun. I enjoy it. 7.5 for me.
I'm a bit higher. I'm coming at an 8. I'm really close, honestly, to going, but I'm going to keep it at an 8 for now because a couple of the things that we mentioned do kind of hamper the experience. I do think it's a game that you kind of need to play around of it before people are going to get it, so to speak, and so that's something that is a little bit of a bummer. We've mentioned some of the production choices. The one thing we didn't mention, and I don't know if this is the case with the retail edition, but the ambassador cards. The ones in the deluxe, at least, have this kind of lenticular type of a thing happening where, depending on where you're sitting at the table, you can't really make out what the color of the ambassador is. There is an icon on there, but I do wish that that's one where form should have been, or function should have been over form, I think, in that case. But gameplay-wise, I think it's really good. If you are tired or you don't like multiplayer solitaire worker placement games, this is a very interactive worker placement game. So if you like that, if you like interaction around the table, I think this will be highly appealing to you if you also want to have a worker placement type of an experience. So an 8 out of 10 for me. I think it does a lot of things very well. A couple of things just keep it from getting the excellent from me.
And to clarify, that in the retail version, all the cards are just regular. You don't have those visually. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there you go, folks. That's Brink. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
And we're on the brink. I would stand on it. That's too confusing. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.